Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me again for week 2 of my Project Life process video for 2017. This week I am super excited because I got my photos done at Costco and they worked so much better for stamping than the CVS ones that I had been using before, and it's just like amazing. If you're like me and you weren't able to stamp on photos before, being able to stamp on them is just super exciting. So anyway, I am starting off working on this filler card in the top right hand corner, and I was really liking the same currently collection ephemera from Project Life, so I used a bunch of those on that card again. I used the desk and the little silver script that says on my desk, and I also used a Kelly Purkey sticky note and the same Kelly Purkey stamp there and some washi tape, and anyway, I like how that turned out. So in the bottom here now, I am using another thing from the collection. These are some frames they're mostly 4x6 frames that come in the pack, and then there's a couple of the 3x4 photos, but I ended up picking that one to go in this bottom 4x6 photo. And I like the gray color and that it didn't really clash with anything, and I had trouble kind of figuring out what was going on with my color scheme this week, so I decided to play it safe. And then I'm thinking about stamping on the photo, but I realized with the frame that's just too much, so I leave it as is. Now I'm gonna work on my intro photo for this week. I love this picture. It's from just a little part of the street in my neighborhood, and there's just lots of foliage right there, so it made for a good picture. And you can't really see, but my puppy is in the bottom of the picture there too. So yeah, so I'm doing the same thing where I'm cutting out the label, and then I'm gonna put this little embellishment on, and that little scallop thing is from the Dear Lizzie Saturday collection. And I messed with this for a while. It never looks completely right to me, but I just kind of have to leave it and move on. I think I tried to staple it down and I stapled it in the wrong place. And then I'm cutting it and messing with it. I find before this I was only doing the 6x8 layouts, and they were just much easier for me to do, and maybe because I wouldn't do them all at once like I do now with these weekly process videos. I don't know, I just end up fussing with everything way more, and I'm just kind of complicating it. So I hope, this is only my second shot at it, so I hope in the next couple weeks I'm able to just stop fussing with every little detail so much and just kind of get through it and enjoy it. So I'm not going to end up using the filler cards that are in here right now, but then there's more of the currently ephemera, and I'm just figuring out what works for the week. There's a bunch of like tea and office supplies and stuff like that I didn't use office supplies or drink tea this week, so not going to use those. But I really like the flowers, and I'm thinking about using more of the silver script stuff. I was thinking about using a frame in that lower photo, but it didn't really, that was the only photo that it worked in, and then that would have been kind of too lopsided since the other framed photo was also on the bottom, so I'm just going to save that for another week. I am going to use this potted plant, but it's not going to end up right there. And now I'm kind of realizing my journaling cards aren't totally working, so it's kind of hard for me to figure out exactly what to do with these colors, because there is, in this ephemera pack, there is a lot of colors going on. There's an orange, a red, a pink, a bright green, and then like a teal. So it's kind of confusing what direction I wanted to go in. And just trying some more stuff. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do the journaling cards and what I even want to talk about on those this week. And I'm trying a bunch of cards from Kelly Purkey, and that red one is going to make the cut. And the one that I'm working with now. I think I'm going to try something else, and yeah, I'm going to end up with this teal one. I really end up liking these colors together. And then I put the plant right off to the side there to kind of cover up that awkward box that I'm not going to use on that. And I'm lifting up my desk, grabbing some inks. And this is, again, I had trouble with this last week, and I'm going to have trouble with it again this week. I'm using the Kelly Perky number stamp that came in the kit this month. And the small stamp is kind of hard. It's not hard, but it's like, it's a little detailed, so you kind of have to stamp it just right. And so I tried a bunch of times before I get it right. And there's me struggling with the little stamp. And then of course I get it right, and I grab the same week stamp from Hero Arts that I used last week. And of course once the week stamp looks good, the number stamp doesn't. So I end up deciding to cut it out, and since I have one good stamp of week and then one good stamp of the 2, I'm just gonna fussy cut those and put those on. So I'm going to try and keep this going throughout my album, where I do in the middle row on the left, on the far left side, put the week number every week, and then try and do some embellishing there. So as it is right now, it is not, it's not detailed enough for me, but I decide I'll put it on this wood grain paper. That's the same wood grain paper I use in the upper right, and then I like the way that looks. I can't remember I think this is a crepe paper thing. It has a black background and flowers on the back, and I really like both sides. Oh, and here is where my stapler is just not working. I realized after a couple tries that there's a staple stuck down inside of the thing, and that's why none are going through. But I was like really worried for a second, because I don't know if I could have finished this layout without my tiny attacher. So then I'm going to add a couple of these labels from the same ephemera pack, a silver one and a teal one, just to kind of tie the colors together all over the spread. And I like how this turns out. The card ends up being pretty busy, but I still like it. And then so I put this captured thing on the bottom too, so it kind of says week 2 captured. It's a really busy card, but I like it. So let's see, what am I gonna work on next? I decide, this is so exciting. I can stamp on photos with white, and it looks amazing. Now I understand why Brilliant's Moonlight White ink is so great. It did not work on the photos before, and I just had the wrong texture of photos. I almost didn't believe it was gonna work, but I got those Costco photos are just the best. I guess Costco just does everything better. So I like to do this a lot, where I put a flower in the corner and then cut it and then put the petals back on so it kind of frames the photo. I've done that a couple of times in my album from last year, and I really like the way that turns out. And then I am trying to figure out if this ink from Ali Edwards matches the rest of the layout, and it looks like it does, but then once I put it on this photo, it's not gonna work. So this is the card that I'm not happy with, and I think I'm going to change it next week. So I put it down, and it's not the right color. And it looks like I wiped it off all the way, but there's still a little residue that makes it look kind of dirty. By the way, this is a photo of the textbook that I was using this week. It's called First Aid, and medical students are like obsessed with it. It is kind of like our Bible. So I'm writing test week over this, and it's not popping enough, and I really wanted to I wish I used my Kelly Perky stamps that I have the outline for that I used last week, but I don't have them. And so yeah, I think I'm going to print this out next week and change it, because I'm just not happy with it the way it is. And you'll see I do something else, and I think it kind of ends up looking worse. right here, see, I'm outlining the letters and I'm like thinking it's gonna look great, but it just looks too messy to me. So I'm gonna definitely redo this. And then I also stapled the currently tab on top there. That's another little piece of ephemera from the same collection. And I also realized, since this is on the back side of this photo, you can't even see it. So I end up swapping the, two of the cards in the final picture that you'll see, and it really just makes everything come together a lot better. So this is a little flare, same collection, currently collection, almost all the stuff is, and it just says "so very happy." It's pink and red, and I was excited that I finally was able to use a flare because I've had those for quite a while and haven't used any. And then I used a Kelly Perky stamp to stamp weekend favorites on this card and just stamp the date at the bottom. So that is about the end of this video. Here is a look at the final spread. As you can see, I flipped 2 of the journaling cards, and that really messy test week outline is driving me nuts, and I'm definitely going to change it. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with this week. It's kind of colorful and crazy, and it clashes a little bit, but I still really love it, and I love the photos. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video.